ॐ शुक्लांभरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। अगजानन पद्मार्कं गजाननमहर्निशम् अनेकदन्तं भक्तानाम् एकदन्तमुपास्महे। श्रीमहागणपतये नमः। गुरवे सर्वलोकानां भिषजे भवरोगिणां निधये सर्वविद्यानां श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। अस्मद्गुरुचरणारविन्दाभ्यां नमः। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। ज्ञानानन्दमयं देवं निर्मलस्फटिकाकृतिम् आधारं सर्वविद्यानां श्रीहयग्रीवमुपास्महे। श्रीहयग्रीवमूर्तये नमः। सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणि विद्यारंभं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा। श्रीमहासरस्वत्यै नमः। उमाकोमलहस्ताब्जसम्भावितललाटकं हिरण्यकुण्डलं वन्दे कुमारं पुष्करस्रजं। வெற்றிவேல் முருகனுக்கு ஹரஹரோஹரா. லோகவீரியம் மகாபூஜ்யம் சர்வரக்ஷாகரம் விபும் பார்வதி ஹிருதயானந்தம் சாஸ்தாரம் பிரணமாம்யகம். சுவாமியே சரணமையப்பா. வாகர்த்தாவிவ சம்பிரக்தௌ வாகர்த்த பிரதிபத்தயே जगतः पितरौ वन्दे पार्वती परमेश्वरौ। श्री पार्वती परमेश्वराभ्यां नमः। कोमलं कूजयन् वेणुं श्यामलोऽयं कुमारकः वेदवेद्यं परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। अस्मद्गुरुचरणारविन्दाभ्यां नमः। श्रीकृष्ण गोविन्द हरे मुरारे श्रीनाथ नारायण वासुदेव। श्रीकृष्ण गोविन्द हरे मुरारे श्रीनाथ नारायण वासुदेव। श्रीकृष्ण गोविन्द हरे मुरारे श्रीनाथ नारायण वासुदेव। पीताम्बरं करविराजितचक्रशङ्खकौमोदकी सरसिजं करुणासमुद्रं राधासहायम् अतिसुन्दरमन्दहासं वातालयेशम् अनिशं हृदि भावयामि। कृष्णो रक्षतु मां चराचरगुरुः कृष्णं नमस्ये सदा। कृष्णेनैव सुरक्षितोऽहमसकृते कृष्णाय दत्तं मनः। कृष्णादेव समुद्भवो मम विभो कृष्णस्य दासोऽस्म्यहं। कृष्णे भक्तिरचञ्चलास्तु भगवन्। हे कृष्ण तुभ्यं नमः। श्री गुरुवायूरप्पा शरणं। नम्राणां सन्निधत्ते सततमपि पुरस्तैरणभ्यर्थितानपि अर्थान् कामानजस्रं वितरति परमानन्दसान्द्रां गतिं च। इत्थं निःशेषलभ्यो निरवधिकफलः पारिजातो हरे त्वं क्षुद्रं तं शक्रवाटी ध्रुममभिलषति व्यर्थमर्त्यव्रजोऽयं। श्रीगुरुवायूरप्पा शरणं। श्रीभट्टपादम् अनिशं हृदि भावयामि। वंशी विभूषितकरात् नवनीरदाभात् पीताम्बरात् अरुणबिम्बफलाधरोष्टात् पूर्णेन्दुसुन्दरमुखात् अरविन्दनेत्रात् कृष्णात् परं किमपि तत्त्वमहं न जाने। കൈരണ്ടും കൂപ്പി ഞാൻ വീണ്ടുമീറക്കുന്നു നീരജലോചന നിന്നോടായി. ഏതീനു മഞ്ഞനെ കുംഭീരേന്ദാത്തോരു പ്രീതിയിൽ നീ എന്നെ പാലിക്കുന്നായി. കൃഷ്ണ ഹരേ ജയ കൃഷ്ണ ഹരേ ജയ കൃഷ്ണ ഹരേ ജയ കൃഷ്ണ ഹരേ. Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome. So, Nikki, we'll do a quick review of 30. So, Anandji, can you do the second 30?
Yes.
And then Shobha, Ninga Pandrela, 30.
I'll do 30. Yeah.
Okay. And then Swami, you can be a student, and Revati, you can be a student today. Okay. Okay. Anandji, you can get started whenever you're ready.
शक्रेण सम्यदि हतोऽपि बलिर्महात्मा शुक्रेण जीविततनुकृतिवर्धितोष्मा विक्रान्तिमान् भयनिलीननसुरां त्रिलोकीं चक्रे वशे स तव चक्रमुगादबीदः पुत्रार्तिदर्शनवशात् अतिथिर्विषण्णा तं काश्यपं निजपदिं शरणं प्रपन्ना तत्पूजनं तदुदितं हि पयोवृदाख्यं साद्वादशाहम् अचरत्वयि भक्तिपूर्णा.
Anandji, this third line, Tvat Pujanam.
पुत्रार्तिदर्शनवशादतिर्विषण्णा तं काश्यपं निजपदिं शरणं प्रपन्ना त्वत्पूजनं तदुदितं हि पयोवृदाख्यं स्वादादशाहम् अचरत्वयि भक्तिपूर्णा. तस्यावधो त्वयि निलीनमदेरमुष्याः श्यामच्चतुर्भुजवपुः स्वयमाविरासिः नम्रां च तामिह भवत्तनयो भवेयं गोप्यं मदीषणमिति प्रलपन्नयासिः तं काश्यपे तपसि सन्निददत्तदानीं प्राप्तोऽसि गर्भमदिते प्रणुतो विधात्रा प्रासूदज प्रकटवैष्णवदिव्यरूपं स्वाद्वादशी श्रवणपुण्यदिने भवन्तम् पुण्याश्रमं तमभिवर्षति पुष्पवर्षैः हर्षाकुले सुरगणे कृततुर्यघोषे बुद्ध्वाञ्जलिं जय जयेति नुद पितृभ्यां तं तत्क्षणे पटुतमं पडिरूपमादाः तावत् प्रजापति मुखरूपनीयमौञ्जी तावत् प्रजापति मुखेरुपनीयमौञ्जी दण्डाजिनाक्षवलयादिविरर्च्यमानः देदीप्यमानवपुरीशकृताग्निकार्यः तं प्रास्थितः बलिग्रहं प्रकृताश्वमेधम्.
Even there, it's Tvam. Last line is Tvam Prastita.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. Just continue. Yeah, no.
बलिग्रहं प्रकृताश्वमेधम् गात्रेण भावि महिमोजितगौरवं प्राग् व्यावृण्णतेव धरणिं चलयन्नयासिः छत्रं वरोष्मतिरणार्थमिवाददानो दण्डं च दानवजिने शिवसन्निधातुं त्वां नर्मदोत्तरतटे हयमेधशाला आसे दुषित्वयि रुजातवरुद्धनेत्रे भास्वान् सनत्कुमारो योगीनु कोयमिति शुक्रमुगे शशङ्गे.
The second line, Anandji, second line is Tavaruddhanetraihi.
त्वां नर्मदोत्तरतटे हयमेधशालाम् आसे दुषित्वयि रुजा तवरुद्धनेत्रेः.
Yeah. And sorry, and you don't have to repeat, but the first line is, in this case, it is Tam, not Twam. I heard it as Twam. So here it is Tam. Okay.
भास्वान् किमेषदहनोनु सनत्कुमारो योगीनु कोयमिति शुक्रमुगे शशङ्के आनीतमाशु भृगुभिर्महसाभिभूदेः त्वां रम्यरूपमसुरपुलकावृताङ्गः भक्त्या समेत्य सुकृती परिणिज्यपादौ तत्त्वायमन्नधृत मूर्धनि तीर्थतीर्थम्.
The last line, Tattoyam Anvadrita.
तत्त्वोऽयमन्वधृतः.
Correct. Yes.
प्रह्लादवंशजदया कृतुभिर्दिजेषु विश्वासतोनु तदिदं तिदिजो बिलेभे यत्ते पदाम्बुगिरिशस्य शिरोभिलाल्यं सत्वं विभो गुरुपुरालय पालयेदः.
Just one small correction I noticed, Anandji. Wherever that ending is coming with E, long E, you are saying it little bit short E. So, for example, first stanza, third line, Trilokim, okay, third line. Similarly, third stanza, if you look at the second and the fourth line, it is ending with E. So I think when you are saying it, it sounded like second line, for example, Swayama Virasihi. You are saying it is Swayama Virasihi. It's a long. Okay. So the third stanza, second and fourth line is long. And then similarly, the fourth stanza, first line, Sannidhadattadhanim. So it's a stretch there, E. Okay.
okay.
So just be careful at that. I just thought it felt like you were cutting it short a little bit. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Rajesh.
Okay. Shobhan.
Krishnaya Parabrahmane Namaha. Dashakam 30. Vamavanavatara Varnanam. Chakrena Samyati Hadobi Balir Mahatma. Shukrena Jivitadanu Krudavir Parti Doshma. Vikraniman Bayanilina Turam Trilokim. Chakre Vasesha Tava Chakramuka Tapitah.
Small. The second line is Kratu. Kratuvardi. Okay.
Kratuvarti Doshma.
Correct. Yeah.
Vikrantiman Bayanilina Suram Trilokim. Chakre Vasesha Tava Chakramuka Tapitah. Putrarti Darshana Vasat Atitir Vishanna. Tamkashyapam Nijapadim Sharanam Tapanna. Vatpujanam Tadudidam Hibayo Bradakyam. Sadvadasaham Acharatwai Bhakti Purna. Tasya Vadau Twai Nilinamate Ramushyaha. Swayamavirashihi. Namranjatamiha Bhavattanayo Bhaveyam. Opiam Madikshanam Idi Pralaban Ayasihi. Tvam Kashype Tabasi Sannidhadattadanim. Prabdosi Garpam Adideh Pranuto Vitartra. Prasudacha Pragada Vaishnava Divya Rupam. Sadvadasi Shravana Punyadine Bhavantam. Punyashramam tam abhivarshadi pushpa varshaihi. Harsha kule suragane krudadurya goshe. Bhatvanjalim jaya jayeti nuta pitrubhyam. Tvam dakshine padudamam vadurupamataah.
Last line. Tvam tatkshane.
Tvam tatkshane padudamam vadurupamataah. Tavat Prajapati Mugairupaniyya Maunji Tanda Jinaksha Valayadi Pirarsyamana Ratsyamana Edipyamana Babuisha Krudaknikarya Tvam Prastita Paligruham Prakruta Swamedam Gatrena Pavi Mahimosita Kauravam Prak Vyavrun Vateva Dharanim Chalayan Ayasihi Tatram Paroshmadiranartamiva Tadano Tandanchatanava Jineshvivasannitadum Tam Narmadottaradade Hayamedashalam Ase Dushitwairucha Tavaruddhanetraihi Baswanki Meshadahano Nusanat Kumaro Yogi Nugoyamidi Chukra Mugai Sasanke Ani Tamasu Pragubir Mahasabi Budaihi Wamram Yaruvamasura Pulaga Vrutangah Bhaktya Samedya Sukriti Parinijapadav Tattoyamadvrada Murtanitirtha Tirtam.
Yes, I'm just sorry. The third line,
Yes.
Sukriti, long E, Sametya Sukriti.
Sure.
And then fourth line, Tattoyam Anvadrita.
Sure. Bhaktya Samedya Sukriti Parinijapadav Tattoyam Anvrita Murtani Tirtha.
So again, the Tattoyam Anvadrita.
Anvatrudha. Tattoyam Anvatrudha. Okay, I got it now. Tattoyam Anvatrudha Murdani Tirtham Prahlada Vamsa Jadaya Kradubir Dvijeshu Vishwasadonu Dadidam Didijo Bilepe Yatte Padambu Girishasya Siro Bilalyam Satvam Vibho Gurupuralaya पालयेताः श्रीकृष्णाय परब्रह्मणे नमः.
Rajesh,
Ah,
the question on the stanza 9th, Bhaktya Sametya Sukriti Parinijya, right?
correct.
Okay.
Yeah, Parinijya Padav.
Ah.
Okay, so 31, I'll continue. I think we finished until 5. So I'll just say 1 to 5 and then we'll start with the 6th one. प्रीत्या धैत्यः तव तनुमः प्रेक्षणात् सर्वतापि त्वामाराध्यन्नचितं रचयन्नञ्जलिं सञ्जघाद मत्तः किं ते समभिलषितं विप्रसूनो भद त्वं वित्तं भक्तं भवनमवनीं वापि सर्वं प्रधास्ये तामक्षीणां बलिगिरमुपाकर्ण्य कारुण्यपूर्णोऽपि अस्योत्सेकं शमयितुमना दैत्यवंशं प्रशंसन् भूमिं पादत्रयपरिमितां प्रार्थयामासित त्वं सर्वं देहीति तु निगदिते कस्य हास्यं न वा स्यात् विश्वेशंहां त्रिपदमिह किं याचसे भालिशस्त्वं सर्वां भूमिं वृणु किममुनेत्यालपत्वां सदृप्यन् यस्माद्दर्पात् त्रिपदपरिपूर्त्य क्षमः क्षेपवाधान् बन्धं चासावगमत् अथ दर्होऽपि गाढोपशान्त्यै पादत्रय्या यदि न मुदितो विष्टपैर्नापि तुष्येत् इत्युक्तेऽस्मिन् वरद भवते दातु कामे ततोऽह्यं दैत्याचार्यः तव खलु परीक्षार्थिनः प्रेरणात्तं मामाधेयं हरिरयमिति व्यक्तमेवाभभाषे याचत्येवं यदि स भगवान् पूर्णकामोऽस्मि सोऽहं दास्यामेव स्थिरमिति वदन् काव्यशब्दोऽपि दैत्यः विन्ध्यावल्या निजदयितया दत्तपाध्याय तुभ्यं चित्रं चित्रं सकलमपि स प्रार्पयत्तोह्य पूर्वम्. That's where we stopped last time. So we'll start with 6th. निस्सन्देहं दितिकुलपतौ त्वय्यशेषार्पणं तद्व्यातन्माने मुमुचुर्षयः सामराः पुष्पहर्षं दिव्यं रूपं तव च तदितं पश्यतां विश्वभाजाम् उच्चैः अवृदवधीकृत्य विश्वाण्डभाण्डम्. So we saw till last time about Vamana coming, and then Bali asked him, ask me whatever you want. And then Vamana said, just give me 3 feet of land that measures by my foot. And then he was like, okay, that is too little. It is like insulting me. Why don't you keep asking for more? Then Shukracharya then warned Bali, saying that Hari Rayamiti, this is Hari himself, so do not ask for more. But however, he says, Yachat, that previous stanza, even if it is Hari himself, then I am actually blessed that Hari himself is coming and asking me. And if that means I have to give out everything I have, I don't care about it. So that's what he says in the previous stanza. So here in the 6th one, Nissandeham. So Bali has absolutely no doubt. He's absolutely firm in what he believes. And he says, I am going to give you whatever you want. Saying that he offers the Lord, he says, Vamana, okay, you can take a land that measures up to 3 of your feet, right? Measures up to 3 feet. You can take that, he says. And when that happens, Mumuchur, all the Rishaya, all the sages and everybody really praise Bali because he knows what he's getting into and still he decides to do that. So they all praise him. So the moment Bali offers it, then your form, your Lord, your divine form, then starts growing in size. It starts growing in size and starts becoming big. Eventually, Vishwanda Bhandam, it is extending to the size of the entire cosmos. So what was a small brahmachari who was 8 to 9 years old? You start growing, uchchehi, you start growing in size, and then you become big enough that you are actually covering the entire cosmos. So Nissandeham Diti Kulapatau, comma, Tvaya Shesharpanam. Tvai Ashesharpanam, 2 words there, but combined together. Tvaya Shesharpanam Tad and then put a plus to that line, and then combine with Vyatanvane, and then put a comma after Vyatanvane. Comma. Mumuchir Rishayaha is there, so put a is, Rishayas, Samaraha, so put a if, Samaraf, Pushpa Varsham.
Rajesh ji,
Ah.
for the after Tvaya Shesharpanam Tad, do we have to change anything in the?
No, you have to, if you have Vyatanvane in your next line, then put a plus in the end of your first line. If you have Vyatanvane in the same line, no worries. So it is Tvaya Shesharpanam Tad Vyatanvane together.
So Va, the letter V, Va, right?
Yeah, Vya, B-Y-A, Vya.
Okay.
Vya.
Thank you.
Nissandeham ditikulapatho Tvayashesharpanam tadvyatanmane Mumuchurishaya samaraf pushpavarsham. Revati, you want to go first or mute lyrical?
Nisandegam titikulapatau tvayasesharpanam tatvyadanvane mumusu rushaya samara pushpavarsham.
The Vyatanvane kapram, there is a pause, okay? So tad Vyatanvane and then Mumuchur Rishayas.
Nisandegam titikulapatau tvayasesharpanam tatvyadanvane mumusu rushaya samara pushpavarsham.
Samaraf.
ऋषयः सामराः पुष्पवर्षम्.
निस्सन्देहं दितिकुलपतौ त्वय्यशेषार्पणं तद्व्यातन्वाने मुमुचुर्सयः सामर
Mumuchur Rishaya. Rishi. Rishayaf. Rishayas.
मुमुचुर्ऋषयः सामरा पुष्पवर्षं निस्सन्देहं दितिकुलपतौ त्वय्यशेषार्पणं तद्व्यातन्वाने मुमुचुर्ऋषयः सामर पुष्पवर्षम्.
Divyam Rupam Tava Cha Tadidham, comma, Pashyatam Vishwa Bhajam. So put a im at the end of that line, Vishwa Bhajam, and then a comma. Next line, that mu becomes a u. Okay. So Uchchair Uchchaihi. So the ru that you have there, the ra that you have there, remove that, put a visarga and a comma. So Uchchair Uchchaihi, and then comma. Next word becomes a letter becomes a. So Avridhat. Avridhat. Avridhat Avadhi Kritya. You can break it. You can either say it as Avridhat Avadhi Kritya, or you say the whole word together, Avridhat Avadhi Kritya. That's also fine. Okay. So Avridhat Avadhi Kritya Vishwanda Bhandam. Divyam Rupam Tavacha Tadidham Pashyatam Vishwabhajam Uchchair Uchchaihi Avridhat Avadhi Kritya Vishwanda Bhandam.
दिव्यं रूपं तव शतदीगं पश्यतां विश्वभाजाम् उच्चैरुच्चैः आवृत्वधिकृत्य विश्वाण्ड पाण्डम्. दिव्यं
Sorry, wait a
रूपं
second. On the last line, Avridhat Avadhi Kritya.
Okay, avridhatvadikritya sollama.
Avridha Dhavadi Kritya. Avridha Dhavadi Kritya. Then
Okay.
Avridha Dhavadi Kritya.
Divyam Rupam Tava Shatatitam Pashyatam Vishwabhajam Uchchaihi Avritvadikritya Vishwanda Pandam.
I think you're missing one letter there somewhere in the middle. So first decide, are you going to split it or are you going to join it
Together.
together? Then you say avridha, this double the there, the and the. So avridha davadi kritya.
Avrudha davati kritya.
Correct.
Davati kritya.
Yes, correct.
Divyam rupam tavachastatitam pashyatam vishvabhajam uchairhi avrudatvadikritya
No,
vishwan.
when you're saying like that, you're missing. You're saying tvadi kritya. You're saying avruda dhavadi kritya.
Avrudatvadikritya
Yeah, that's correct.
vishwandabandam.
The Kritya kapra kama irukka. I mean, is it a pause?
There's no, it's just continuous.
Okay. Divyam rupam tava chatadidam pashyatam vishvabhajam uccaihi avridadavadi kritya vishwandabandam. Divyam rupam tava chatadidam pashyatam vishvabhajam uccaihi avridadavadi kritya vishwandabandam.
Stanza 7. त्वत्पादाग्रं निजपदगतं पुण्डरीकोद्भवोऽसौ कुण्ठितोयैः असिचदपुनाद्यज्जलं विश्वलोकान् हर्षोत्कर्षात् सुबहुननृते केचरैरुत्सवेऽस्मिन् भेरीं निघ्नन् भुवनमचरजाम्बवान् भक्तिशाली. So as Vamana's size started growing, that's why Vamana Avataram is also called as Trivikrama, because he conquered all the three worlds, right? So it's also called Trivikrama. So as Vamana's size started going, so Tvat Pada, your feet, O Guruvairappa, Agram, the edge or the tip of your feet, that tip of your feet reached Satyaloka, where Brahma was there. Pundari Kodbhavosa means the one who's born out of a lotus, which is Brahma in this case. So it reached that your tip of your feet reached the Satyaloka, where Brahma then Kundi is referring to his the kamandalam, the jug of water which carries water. With that, he washes your feet. So he washes your feet, and the water that is coming out of that feet, Tad Jalam, Yet Jalam, that feet, the water which is coming out of your feet is blessing the entire world. Vishwalokan, it is blessing the entire world. So now, as the Lord is now, when he becomes big, so everybody realizes that the time has now come. So all the, the Gandharvas, everybody is really happy and they're all playing music, etc. And then the main point here is Jambavan Bhaktishali, your most ardent devotee, Jambavan, is going around playing music as well. So the question here is, there are few people who span multiple avatars. Right, Jambavan is one of them who is actually coming in this avataram, and of course he comes in Ramayana, we know that. And then similarly Hanuman also, like we know, he comes in Ramayana but also comes in Mahabharata, right, where Bhima has an encounter with Hanuman. So you can get Prahlada comes in Narsimha avataram, but he also comes later in this chapter, because remember Bali is his grandson, right? So there are a few people who span multiple, and Jambavan is one such, because he's one of your very ardent devotee. So he's also going around the world celebrating that your avataram has happened here. Tvat Padagram Nija Pada Gatam, comma, Pundari Kot Bhavosau, comma, Kundi Toyehi. So that ra that is there, remove that and put first a visarga and a comma. Kundi Toyehi, comma. Next, it starts with a a. So this one again, you can break it if you want as Asichad, Asichad, Apunad Yajalam. Apun, and there's a deer there. The deer means the and deer. So Asichad, Apunad Yajalam. That's one way you can break it. Or if you want to say it together, it becomes Asichad Apunad. The, you say it together, right? Instead of breaking the, you say it together. Asichad Apunad Yajalam Vishwa Lokan. Tvatpadaghram nijapadaгаtam pundarikoddhavosau kundhitoyaihi Asichadapunadya jalam vishwalokan. Revati, you're on mute. Mute lirkel.
त्वत्पादाक्रं निजपदकथं पुण्डरीकोपवोऽसौ कुण्ठितो यैः असि च अपुनात् यज्जलं विश्वलोकान् त्वत्पादक्रं निजपदकथं
Padagram.
त्वत्पादाक्रं निजपदकथं पुण्डरीकोपवोऽसौ कुण्ठितो यैः असि च अपुनात् यज्जलं विश्वलोकान्
त्वत्पादाग्रं निजपदगतं पुण्डरीकोद्भवोऽसौ कुण्डीतो यैः असिचद् अपुनाद्यज्जलं विश्वलोकान् त्वत्पादाग्रं निजपदगतं पुण्डरीकोद्भवोऽसौ कुण्डीतो यैः असिचदपुनाद्यज्जलं विश्वलोकान्
Harshotkarshat, comma, Subhahu nanrute khecharair utsavesmin. Okay, you can break that there. Khecharair utsavesmin, comma, Bherim nignan, comma, Bhuvanam acharaj Jambavan bhaktishali. Harshotkarshat Subahunanrute Khecharairutsave'smin Bherim nignan Bhuvanamachara Jambavan bhaktishali.
हर्षोत्कर्षात् सुबहुननृते केशरै उत्सवेऽस्मिन् पेरीं निघ्नन् भुवनमसरत् जाम्बवान् भक्तिशाली हर्षोत्कर्षात् सुबहुननृते केशरै उत्सवेऽस्मिन् पेरीं निघ्नन् भुवनमचरत् Jambavan Bhaktisali
Last Bhakti Shad Shali, not Sali.
Bhaktishali
हर्षोत्कर्षात् सुबहुननृते केचरैरुत्सवेऽस्मिन् भेरीं निघ्नन् भुवनमचरज्जाम्बवान् भक्तिशाली हर्षोत्कर्षात् सुबहुननृते केचरैरुत्सवेऽस्मिन् भेरीं निघ्नन् भुवनमचरज्जाम्बवान् भक्तिशाली
Stanza 8. तावद्धैत्यास्त्वनुमतिमृते भर्तुरारब्धयुद्धाः देवोपेतैर्भवदनुचरैः सङ्गता भङ्गमापन् कालात्मायं वसति पुरतो यद्वशात् प्राग्जिताः स्मः किं वो युद्धैरिति बलिगिरा थेतपाथालमापुः. So when this happens, all the asuras who were there along with Bali, they started coming to like a war with the devas. So all the devas also had assembled at that time, and the asuras started fighting with the devas. And here very specifically, Bhadrapad is saying anumatim, without getting permission from Bali. So they figured that their king is in distress. So they all started attacking all the devas. So at that time, Bali is saying, Kalatmayam, the whole time incarnate, the Lord himself is standing in front of us. All the victories we have had in the past is because of this Lord. Now this Lord is now taken a stance against us. So he wants something. So Bali says it's absolutely fruitless or worthless that we actually go and fight against him. So having seen this, Bali then stops the asuras from going into a fight and then sends them back to Patala Mapuhu, sends them back to the Patala Loka. He says it's absolutely Kimbo Yud, there is no use fighting. We are not going to gain anything from this, and there's nothing we can do at this point. So this is the pride that Bali had was the reason this avataram was happening, right? So if you remember from previously where he thought that he can give whatever you want and I have whatever I have, and now he's finally given up, right? And that's what again it will also come in the last stanza where he's finally understood that I cannot, the Lord himself is coming, I can't go and fight with him, or I have to just realize that I have to completely surrender in this case.
So by the time the Lord, he's already realized, right?
He's
It's not
realized,
like
yeah,
he's
because the moment even when Shukracharya said itself, he realized it, that it is a lot. Because Shukracharya is specifically want him saying, that you should not do this. And there's a long description in Bhagavatam. They tell him more. He says very specifically, he has come to take everything you have. And you go ahead with this, you're going to lose. And you still have a choice because the Lord will not take without your permission. So you still have a choice to not give. Right? You had the choice, but he says no, right? If he's come to ask, I want to give it, right? So, Thavad Dhaityas Tuanu Matimrithe, comma, Bhartur Arabda Yuddhaha, comma, Devo Petair Bhavadha Nucharaihi. So remove that is and put a visarga and a comma. Bhavadha Nucharaihi, comma. Sangata Bhangamapan. Tavadhaityastvanumati Bharturarabda Yuddhaha Devopetair Bhavadanucharaihi Sangata Bhangamapan.
दावदैत्यास्त्वनुमतिमृते भर्तुरारब्धयुद्धाः देवोपेदैर्भवदनुसरैः सङ्गता पङ्गमापन्
Sorry, 1 second. There is small correction. Nucharaihi, second line, not saraihi. Charaihi.
नुच्चरैः okay.
Yeah.
दावदैत्यास्त्वनुमतिमृते भर्तुराप्तयुद्धाः देवोपेदैर्भवदनुचरैः सङ्गता भङ्गमापन्
तावद्दैत्यास्तनुमतिमृते भर्तुरारभ्य युद्धाः देवोपेतैर्भवदनुचरैः सङ्गता भङ्गमापन्.
Swami, this first line, Tuanu Matimrite, Tuanu, not Tanu. Tuanu.
तावद्दैत्यास्त्वनुमतिमृते भर्तुरारभ्य युद्धाः देवोपेतैर्भवदनुचरैः सङ्गता भङ्गमापन्.
Kalatmayam Vasati Purato, comma, Yadvashat Pragjitaha is there. So put a is to join. Pragjitas Smaha, comma, Kim Vo Yuddhairiti Baligira, comma, Theta Pathala Mapuhu. Kalhatmahyam Vasati Purato Yadvashat Pragjita Smaha Kimbo Yuddhairiti Baligira Theta Pathala Mapuhu.
कालात्मायं वसति पुरतो यत्वशात् प्राक्चितः समः किं वो युक्तैरिति परिगिरा तेदपातालमापुः.
And the third line, Samaha, just Smaha, it's a half is. Half
Smaha.
Smaha. Yeah.
कालात्मायं वसति पुरतो यत्वशात् प्राक्चितः स्मः किं वो युक्तैरिति बलिगिरा तेदपातालमापुः.
कालात्मायं वसति पुरतो यद्वशात् प्राग्जिता स्मः किं वो युद्धैरिति बलिगिरा तेतपातालमापुः. कालात्मायं वसति पुरतो यद्वशात् प्राग्जिता स्मः किं वो युद्धैरिति बलिगिरा तेतपातालमापुः.
Stanza 9. पाशैर्बद्धं पतगपतिना दैत्यमुच्चैरवाधीः तातीरीकं दिश मम पदं किं न विश्वेश्वरोऽसि पादं मूर्ध्नि प्रणय भगवन् इत्यकम्पं वदन्तं प्रह्लादस्तं स्वयमुपगतो मानयन्नस्तवीत्वाम्. So here, so now the when Bhattaripat said in the previous stanza that when the tip of your feet reach Satyaloka, he didn't explicitly say a few things which we all know, which is Bhagavatam explicitly also says, which is so the first feet the Lord keeps us as occupied the earth, and the second feet has reached the heaven or Amravati, which is also ruled by Bali. That's why the tip of the feet reach Satyaloka. So both of the 2 feet that have land or region has been captured. So Bali is no Pasher Baddam. So Garuda is there who's holding Bali. Bali is tied with ropes. And then in a loud voice, you are asking him, O Lord, tell me, Thatirikam Disha Mama Padam. Tell me where can I keep my 3rd feet? I don't have space for it. Kimna Vishweshwarosi. Didn't you say that you are the Lord of all the 3 worlds? So you said earlier that you are the Lord of all the 3 worlds, right? And so I asked for this 3 feet. Now I have kept for 2 feet. Where do I keep my 3rd feet? Thus you asked, O Lord, in a loud voice. At the time, Nitya Kampam. So without any hesitation or without any fear or without any worry about it, Bali says, Padam Murdni Pranaya Bhagavan. Oh Lord, you can keep your feet on my head. Right? Murdni means the top of your head here. Says you can rest your feet on my head because that is all I have with me now. Because all the regions I had, the earth and the heavens and everything has been given to you. So I have no other place, but you can take it. You can keep it on my feet. Thus, Bali then says this. And when that happens, then Prahlada then comes there, right? And who, because like I said earlier, Prahlada is the grandfather. So Prahlada there comes and praises you a lot, and also praises Bali as well, right? Because he also realizes the devotion that Bali has obtained now and the understanding that Bali now has, because of which his pride has been taken away. So Bali is also praised there. So Pashair Bhaddham Pata Gapatina, comma, Daityam Uchaira Vadihi. You put a visarga at the end of that line and a comma, Uchaira Vadihi. Next line, remove that is if you have that. Tatir, Tat Thirikam, Disha Mama Padam, comma, Kim na Vishweshwarosi. Pashairbadham Patagapatina Daitymuchairavaadhihi Tatirikam Dishamamapadham Kimna Vishweshwarosi.
Can you repeat the 3rd line, please?
Yeah, okay. And Swami, any question? Tartirikam. I said it wrong at the wrong spot. Pashairbadham Patagapatina Daityamuchairavaadhihi Tartikam. Okay, so tar kapram and then it Tartikam Dishamama Padam Kimna Vishweshwarosi.
Yeah.
Rajesh, Vadihi dane.
Vadihi, ama. The first the.
Okay.
Pasairpattam Patakapatina Daityamuchairavaadihi Dartiham Disamabapadam Kinna Vishweshwarosi.
This is a quick correction. So I think நீங்க தமிழ் யூஸ் பண்ற I think அந்த நம்பர் போட்டுருப்பா இல்லையா மேல 1 2 3 4 அப்படி சொல்லிட்டு
அது இல்ல இதுல.
Oh, okay. I think that's where you are tripping on that is because typically they put numbers on top, right? இப்போ வந்து தமிழ்ல இந்த இப்போ first is பாஷைர் பத்தம் first இதுல then disha shad. So anyway, I'll stop you when you say. I think there are a couple of places where it's where it was a different thing. So நீங்க சொல்லும்போது I'll stop you this time.
Okay. Pasair
There.
Battam.
Pashair. Sh.
Okay. So எல்லா இடத்துலயும் ஷா இருந்தா அதோட ப்ரொனன்சியேஷன் ஷாவா?
இல்ல சான்ஸ்கிரிட்ல ச செப்பரேட்டா போட்டிருக்கா, ஷ செப்பரேட்டா போட்டிருக்கு.
ஆனா இந்த தமிழ்ல வந்து ஷா தான் எழுதிருக்கு.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. தமிழ்ல வந்து normally in Tamil they put a number on top. 1, 2, 3, 4 அப்படின்னு they would have normally put a number. Okay, I've seen, because I know some other people who use Tamil, so they put a number on top, so that number shows the
Maybe I should
intensity.
use a different script. Prapatti.
Yeah.
Maybe I should use.
Yeah, you should use that, because there I normally reference, if I want to check any words thing, I check with that. Prapatti is
Okay, I use that.
Yeah.
Okay. Pashai pattam patakapadina daityamuchairavadihi dhartikam dishamapadam kinna vishveshwarosi.
Rajesh, I had a question. Bashai Radhu, Bava.
Pa.
Bashai.
Yeah.
Pashai.
Yeah.
Pashair pattam padakapadina daityamuchairavadihi dhartikam disamapapadam kinna vishveshwarosi.
Yeah, disha. The disha there.
Disha.
Yeah. Okay.
पाशैर्बद्धं पतगपतिना दैत्यमुच्चैरवादीः तार्तीयिकं दिश मम पदं किं न विश्वेश्वरोऽसि. पाशैर्बद्धं पतगपतिना दैत्यमुच्चैरवादीः तार्तीयिकं दिश मम पदं किं न विश्वेश्वरोऽसि.
Padam Murdni Pranaya Bhagavan. Put in the double put ni எப்படி இருந்ததுனாக்கா, just remove that off for now. Just make it Bhagavan and then comma. Next word starts with the E. Ityakampam vadantam, comma. Prahladastam swayam upagato, comma. Manayan nastavit Twam. Manayan nastavit Twam.
Rajesh ji. Bhagavan Nityakambam, can we say together also?
No, I think since we are breaking at the middle of every line, right? We kind of, because ideally you can say the whole thing together, but because we're pausing at the middle, that's why that's the right place to pause.
Okay.
Padham Murdni Pranaya Bhagavan Ityakampam Vadantam Prahladastam Swayamupagato Manayan Nastavitvam.
Padam Murtani Pranaya Bhagavan Ityakampam Vadantam Prahladastam Swayamupagato Manayan Nastavitvam. Padam Murdhani Pranaya Bhagavan Ityakambam Vadantam Prahladastam Swayamupagato Manayan Nastavitvam.
And also, Sindhuji, in this case, it's the split is at the right spot, because Bhagavan, O Lord, Pardam Murdni Pranaya, keep your feet on my head. Ityakampam Vadantam, you said that he said it without trembling, right? So it is still like what do you call, it's a right separation point, right?
Okay.
Like when you're writing it in English, you can technically put a comma there at that point.
Okay.
Padam Mudni Pranaya Bhagavan Ityakampam Vadantam Prahladastam Swayamupagato Manayannastavitvam. Padam Mudni Pranaya Bhagavan Ityakampam Vadantam Prahladastam Swayamupagato Manayannastavitvam.
Last stanza. Darpochitye bihitamakilam daitya siddhosi punyaihi lokaste stutridiva vijahi vasavatvam cha paschat matsayujyam bhajasa punaretyanva grinha balim tam viprai santanitamakhavaraha pahi vata lahesha. So then the Lord says that all of this, O Bali or Mahabali, all of this was done or enacted only to completely remove your pride, because that was what was blocking you from reaching me, right? So by completely eliminating your pride, it made you completely surrender to me, and that's the only way you can actually attain union with me. And since you completely, all of that has happened right now, and oh Daitya, oh, although you were an Asura, Siddhos, you have done a lot of good deeds. You have done a lot of meritorious deeds, right? And then, like if you remember, Bali was doing this 100th Ashwamedha Yajna because he wanted to become the next Indra. That was the post he wanted. So here Lord says, first what you do is, I'm going to send you to the Sutala Loka, where you're going to go and rule, and you're going to make that a better place, right, with your kingsmanship. So go become the head of Sutala Loka, rule that, make it a prosperous place. And then later on, you are then going to attain the spot of the next Indra, and eventually you will attain Matsayujyam. You will attain union with me, that means attaining liberation. So with that, the Lord himself helped Bali complete the 100th Ashwamedha Yajna with the priests. So all of that was completed, and Bali was then sent to the Sutala Loka. Oh, such a Lord, you came and you helped Bali, remove his pride and everything. All I'm asking for is, oh Guru Vairappa, help me eradicate my diseases and my ailments. So with that, Bhartari part ends 31. Darpoch Chityai, double half the is Chityai, Bihitam Akilam, comma, Daitya Siddhosi Punyaihi. So Visarga at the end and then a comma, Punyaihi. Next line, on top of lo, if you have a ir, remove that small ir out. So lokas testu tridiva vijayi, long e, vijayi, comma, vasavatvam cha paschat. Darpochityai bihitamakilam daitya siddhosi punyaihi lokaste stutridiva vijahi vasavatvam cha paschat.
Tatpochityai vihitamahilам daityasiddhosi punyaihi lokesdestu tritava vijayi vasavat pancha paschat.
Second line, second locus, locus.
Okay. Tatpochityai vihitamahilам daityasiddhosi punyaihi lokastestu tritava vijayi vasavat pancha paschat.
The second time, Chunambudu, you said tridava, it's tridiva.
Oh, okay.
Okay, no worries.
Tritiba. Okay.
Darpochityai vihitamakilam daitya siddhosi punyaihi lokastestu tridiva vijayi vasavatvam cha paschat. Darpochityai vihitamakilam daitya siddhosi punyaihi lokastestu tridiva vijayi vasavatvam cha paschat.
Matsayujyam bhaja cha punar ityanva grinna. So on the word, it is difficult to break it. So you have to say that whole word together. Punarityanva grinna balim tam. And then a comma. So say the whole line together. Balim tam, comma. Viprais santanitha makha varaha, comma. Pahi vatala esha. Matsayujyam bhajasa punarityanva grinha balim tam viprais santanita makhavaraha pahi vatala esha.
Matsayujyam bhajasa punarityandva grihnabalim tam viprai santanita makavaraha pahi vadalayesha matsa yujyam bhajasha punarityandva grihnabalim tam viprai santanita makavaraha pahi vadalayesha.
And the balim is balim, not a bali. Balim kadiyadu. Just be careful. You were saying it correct only, but it was like little bit on the
Grina balimtam.
balimtam. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
So quick question here. So matsa yujam baja cha or baja sha?
Baja cha, first cha.
Okay.
Cha.
Okay, thank you.
मत्सायुज्यं भजच पुनरित्यन्व गृह्ण बलिं तं विपरिसन्तानि विप्रैसन्तानितमखवरः पाहि वातालयेश मत्सायुज्यं भजच पुनरित्यन्व गृह्ण बलिं तं विप्रैसन्तानितमखवरः पाहि वातालयेश.
Krishnaya Parabrahmane Namaha. We'll go to 32. So in the first half up to 36 chapters, right? It's back to back. All the various avatars are coming. So we saw Sing Vamana Avataram. Now 32 is Matsya Avataram. Then 34, 35 are Rama Avataram. 36 is Parashurama Avataram, right? And then from 37 is the Krishna Avataram starts. From 37 through 88 is all related to Krishna, right? So it's completely dedicated to Krishna, because that is the essence of Bhagavatam as well. As majority of it is dedicated to Krishna primarily. So Bhattacharya is covering the first 10 chapters or 11 chapters are about the creation, about how the world came into being, about Brahma, about Guru Arpan, all of that was happening there. Then he had all these avatarams and all the charitrams like Dhruva Charitram, Ajamilo, Pakyanam, and all of that came, right? And all these avatarams are coming. And then from 37 to 88 is all Krishna, related to Krishna. And then the last 10 are more about enlightenment and how you get that, and all of that is coming towards the end, right? So before we get into 32, and I will send you all a screenshot after this, after the class as well. But just to understand the concept of time in Hinduism, because this will come in the beginning here, right? So you understand the context. So we know that, okay, if in the, like the various yugas we know, right? So we know that the Kali Yuga is 432,000 years, right? That's the Kali Yuga. And Kali Yuga started when Krishna departed, which was around 3100 BC or something. So from there, you have to add 432,000 years for Kali Yuga to get over. So just before Kali Yuga was Dwapara Yuga, which was 2x the size of Kali Yuga. So 864,000. Then before that was the Treta Yuga, which was 3x of Kali Yuga. And then the first is Satya Yuga, right? And the Krita Yuga, that is 4x of Kali Yuga. That is the span of it. So if you add all of these 4 yugas together, it is called one Chatur Yuga. Chatur means 4. So Chatur Yuga means all the 4 yugas, or Maha Yuga is the name of it. So that eventually comes to 4.3 million years. Is the total span of one Chatur Yuga, 4.3 million years. Now you take that 4.3 million and you multiply by 1000. So 1000 Chatur Yugas, I think that is 4.3 billion. That 4.3 billion constitutes what is called as one kalpa, and one kalpa means one day for Brahma, right? 4.3 billion years is one day for Brahma. So the way Brahma, or way that is distributed, is each of the out of the 1000 Chatur Yugas, there are 14 Manus who rule, who are responsible for creation. So Manu is not the name of a person. Manu is the name of it's a title, right? So Manu means the person who is responsible for creation for those portion of the Chatur Yugas. So that's why you have, we say Swayambhuva Manu, right? Vaivaswada Manu. So those are all the Manus. So the 1000 Chatur Yugas, you divide by 14 Manus, you get 71 point quarter or something. That is that many Chatur Yugas each Manu is managing, right? So the 14 Manus, 1000 Chatur Yugas constitutes one Kalpa, which is a day of Brahma. There's an equal amount of time where Brahma is sleeping, but technically in Hinduism, they say sleeping, that means no activity is happening. So I'll tell you what that is, right? So there's no activity happening for an equal amount of period. So that is 1 day and 1 night for Brahma. Then they have taken that and said 30 days times 12 months approximation. So 360 times you multiply that. That constitutes 1 year for Brahma. And Brahma has 100 years, then the next Brahma comes, right? So you can keep multiplying, and I'll say, and there's a image is there which kind of tells you all that what do you call numbers, right? The reason I was kind of talking through this is, when we say there is a pralayam that happens, there are 4 main types of pralayam. Means some level of destruction or some level of end, right? There are primarily 3, and Bhagavad Gita they have said there's a 4th one. So Bhagavad Gita, that's a simple one. Bhagavad Gita, they say, hey, every time you go to sleep, technically, that is, it's ending one thing and going to the next. You have no idea what is happening when you sleep, right? You are not doing anything. So it's a little bit of inactivity that happens, right, when you go to sleep. So that is maybe you can think of it as one. The second simple one is when you attain moksham eventually, when you go join, that is one end of it. But the 2 main pralayams which are described are, one is a Naimittika pralayam, which is at the end of Brahma's day, right? So remember that again, Brahma's day is 1000 Chatur Yugas. So when 1000 Chatur Yugas get over, there is something called as a Naimittika pralayam, where the physical world is still there, but no entities are there in it. So all the lokas are still there, but nothing exists in it. Everything is wiped out, completely clean. That is the Naimittika pralayam that happens. And then Brahma, like we said, goes to sleep, which means nothing happens, nothing exists during that period. And then when Brahma wakes up again for his next kalpa, beginning of the day, and this is covered earlier in Narayaneeyam, that's where he's coming out, and then he's seeing himself sitting on like a lotus-like structure, and then he has no idea where he has come from, what is the source of this. So he then spends a lot of time trying to find the source of where he has come from, but he cannot locate it. And then he's eventually told to meditate, and then automatically all the Vedas and everything comes to his mind, right? Because Vedas were never written. And so it all, he remembers everything. That's how it says, right? Which means he retains the memory comes back. That is the kalpa. Then there is a Prakritika pralayam, which means everything goes back into the Brahman, completely goes back into the Brahman, and nothing exists, right? So I know since Vani is here and she chants Devi Matmyam, right? So in Devi Matmyam, there is something called as a Ratri Suktam. So Ratri Suktam is talking about Yoga Maya, right? So that Yoga Maya, everything is inside that Brahman, whatever you want to call that. And then when that Yoga Maya then comes out of that Brahman, that's where creation starts to happen. And that's when first that Brahma comes out. And then that Brahma, the first time when he comes out, so at that time also he's completely lost as to where he is. So at that time, then he hears only one sound, which says, tapaha, tapaha, just meditate. So he meditates for some 1000 Chatur Yugas or something. And that's when he starts getting information gradually. So all of that is covered earlier. But anyway, I will also send you, Swami and others who are here, right? Anandji and all. Like when we say the Sankalpam, right? I'll tell you what that Sankalpam is telling. I'll send it in a separate recording, because that you'll see, it will say Dvitiya Pararte, which means the second half of Brahma's life. So we are already gone through 50 years of the current Brahma. We're in the 51st. Shweta Varaha Kalpe, it says which Kalpa, which means the day of Brahma it is in. Then Vaivaswada Manvantare, which means the current ruling Manu is Bivaswan, which is son. Bivaswan's son is Vaivaswada Manu. That is a Vaivaswada Manvantare. Then Kali Yuke, there is you in the Kali Yugam. Pratame Phate means we are in the first quarter of the Kali Yuga, and so on and so forth, right? So that is the context behind this. So the reason that is important is the first stanza here, as we're going through it. So we'll get started. Pura Hayagriva Mahasurena Shashtantaranto Dhyadakanda Kalpe Nidronmuka Brahma Mukha Dhriteshu Vedeshvadit Sakhila Matsya Rupam. So it is talking about, and then one of the Naimittika Pralayam has happened, which means end of Brahma's day has happened, right? When end of Brahma's day is happening, and then which says when Brahma went to sleep. So like I said, Brahma doesn't go to sleep. It just means no activity is happening. When that is nothing was happening, then the Vedas, it says, was stolen by a demon called Hayagriva. Now, of course, Vedas are not written. So you cannot steal something which is not written. So when they say Vedas were stolen, it means the knowledge that Brahma had was completely lost, because that's what happens when that period of inactivity is happening, right? So inactive, so the Vedas were lost at that time. So to rescue those Vedas and to bring back the next Kalpa and to appoint the next Manu, you, O Lord, Kila Matsya Rupam, you did take this avatar as Matsya Rupam to come and recover the Vedas and to bring Brahma back to the next Kalpa and also to appoint the next Manu. So here you should not confuse this Hayagriva Asura with the Hayagriva Lord, because Hayagriva just means somebody with a horse's face. So this is there was an Asura probably or something like that who also was something related to horse. That's why it is Hayagriva. So Pura Hayagriva Mahasurena, comma. So the next word, it's difficult to break it easily. So you have to kind of say the whole word together. Shashtanta Rantod Yada. Right? Shashtanta Rantod Yada Kanda Kalpe. Shashtanta Rantod Yada Kanda Kalpe. Nidron Mukha Brahma Mukhad Dhriteshu, comma, Vedeshwa Ditsaha is there, so put a ih to join. Vedeshwa Ditsah Kila Matsya Rupam. Pura Hayagriva Mahasurena Shashtantaranto Dhyadakandakalpe Nidronmukha Brahma Mukadhriteshu Vedeshvaditsah Kila Matsya Rupam.
Pura Hayagriva Mahasurena Sashtantarantotyadakandakalpe Nitronmukha Brahma Muhadrideshu Vedeshvaditsah Kila Matsya Rupam.
The second line, sorry, the second line, the Shashtant.
Shashtant.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pura Hayagriva Mahasurena Sashtantarantotyadakandakalpe Nitronmukha Brahma Muhadrideshu Vedeshvaditsah Kila Matsya Rupam.
Pura Hayagriva Mahasurena Sashtantarantodhyada Kandakalpe Nitronmukha Brahma Mukadhriteshu Vedeshvaditsa Kila Matsya Rupam. Pura Hayagriva Mahasurena Sashtantarantodhyada Kandakalpe Nitronmukha Brahma Mukadhriteshu Vedeshvaditsa Kila Matsya Rupam.
Stanza 2.
In terms of timing, when the Matsya Avataram happened before Vamana Avataram.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, because that's why, as I was saying earlier, right, is Narasimha Avataram happened and then Vamana Avataram happened because Prahlada's grandson. This Matsya Avataram happened at the end of the 6th Manvantara and the beginning of the 7th Manu, beginning like it has happened, right? The Vaivas for the Manvantaru. I have one thing I have to probably go back and check is in the other ones, which Manu was there, did that happen? I have to go check that. Okay. But Matsya Avataram in this current Kalpa, it is the first thing that is happening. But one thing I have to go check is who was the Manu when the other Avatarams happened? Because if that was when the 6th Manu was there or the first Manu was there, because in one of the thing, and I forgot, is it says Vaivasvatakyamanuputra Nabhagajata. I don't know which chapter that comes. So other one, it is happening during the different Manu. So I think that is one thing I have to go and check, and I'll get back to you. Okay.
Sure. Okay.
Rajeshwar, one quick question. Last line, Vedeshwar Ditsah. So there's a Visarga after?
Yeah, there's a Visarga after, right? But because the K or K, when it comes after the Visarga, you cannot put a H. H.
So can you say that line one more time?
Yeah. Vedeshwar Ditsah. So Ditsah. Yeah, not Saha. Ditsah.
Ditsah. Okay.
Yeah. Ditsah Kilamatsya Rupa.
Thank you.
Okay. So so the second stanza, what's happening is, so then there is a king called Satyavrata. He's called Satyavrata because he was a pious king. He was following Satyam. He was doing all the right things. That's why he's called Satyavrata. So he was the king of the Dramila land. Dramila land means somewhere in the south of India. So he was a ruler of that land. Not necessarily king. He was ruler of the land. So one day when he was in the banks of the river Dramila, in the banks of the river Kritamala, Nadi Jale Tarpan, he was performing Tarpanam. And Kritamala here is referring to, I think when you Google where is Kritamala, it will tell it is Vaigai river, which flows into Bay of Bengal. So yeah, so when he was doing Tarpanam there, so at that time, when he was pouring the water and he was taking the water, on his hand there happened to come Kaschana Balaminaha, some tiny fish. So here Bhattaripad is saying, you then came in Karanjalau. When he was holding his hand and praying and taking the water, in his hand appeared a small fish, some small fish, which was in a shining form, right? So Satya Vratasya Dramiladhi Bartuhu. So on top of that na, if you have a ir, remove that ir off and put a Bartuhu, Visarga and a comma. Dhramiladi Bartuhu, comma. Nadi Jale Tarpaya Tas Tadanim. Karanjalau. So Kara Anjalau, Anjali. So holding your hands together. So Karanjalau Sanjwalita Kritis. So it's one big word. Sanjwalita Kritis Twam. So put a im, the twam and the ma. If you're going to break it, you put a im and then a comma. Sanjwalita Kritis Twam. Next word starts with a a. Adrishyata. Okay. So again, Adrishyataha is there. So put that ih to join. Adrishyatah Kaschana Balaminaha. Satyavratasya Dramiladi Bhartuhu Nadi Jale Tarpayatastadhani Karanjalau Sanjwalita Kritistwam Adrishyatah Kaschana Balaminaha.
Can you repeat one more time?
Sure. Satyavratasya Dramiladi Bhartuhu Nadi Jale Tarpayatastadhani Karanjalau Sanjwalita Kritistwam Adrishyatah Kaschana Balaminaha.
Satyavradasya Tramilati Bartuhu Nathi Jale Tarpayatastadani Karanjalau Sanjwalita Kritistwam Adrishyata Kachana Balaminaha. Satyavradasya Tramilati Bartuhu Nadi Jale Tarpayatastadani Karanjalau Sanjwalita Kritistwam Adrishyatah Kachana Balaminaha.
Adrishyatah.
Adrishyatah.
Yeah, correct.
Satyavratasya Dramiladi Bartuhu Nadi Jale Tarpayatastadanim Karanjalau Sanjwalita Kritistwam Adrishyatah Kaschana Balaminaha. Satyavratasya Dramiladi Bartuhu Nadi Jale Tarpayatastadanim Karanjalau Sanjwalita Kritistwam Adrishyatah Kaschana Balaminaha.
ராஜேஷ் ஒரே ஒரு கொஸ்டின்.
ம்.
இந்த கிருத்திமாலா ரிவர் வந்து வைகை ரிவர்னா அந்த இடத்துல தான் மத்ஸ்யாவதாரம் அந்த ஏரியால தான்
இல்ல அந்த ஏரியால நடக்கல. இது he was performing the penance in that. He was doing the tarpanam in that place. Because the Matsyavataram, when we go later on, we'll explain that it technically has, when the actual avataram happens, it is outside of the earth itself. Okay, and it will come later. But
அது எங்க ஊருனால நான் கேட்டேன்.
அப்படியா? ஆமா. He was there, and that's where the fish first comes. But then eventually the pralayam comes, and then they essentially end up going outside the earth itself. So adnala it's difficult, but yeah, you can technically claim ownership of that, saying அந்த இடத்துல first வந்தது அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு. But அங்க actually
மீனாட்சி அம்மன் கோவில் வேற இருக்கு.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Yeah. Stanza 3. क्षिप्तं जले त्वां चकितं विलोक्य निह्येम्बुपात्रेण मुनिस्वगेहं स्वल्पैरहोभिः कलशीं च कूपं वापीं सरश्चानशिषे बिभो त्वम्. So when Satyavrata then ends up putting the fish back into the water, right? That fish, it actually spoke back to him, saying that I am very frightened. Do not put me back into the water because somebody here will eat me. So you take me with you. So he then says, okay, and then he then takes him and he first puts it in the kamandalam that he has, right? The jug that he has. He puts the fish into that kamandalam and takes it, swageham, takes it to his house. In a few days, it starts growing in size. And first it becomes bigger than the kamandalam. And then he goes and puts it in a kalasham. Kalasham means like a pot, right? He puts it in a pot. And then it becomes bigger in size. And then he goes, puts it into a koopam. A koopam is like a well, right? The size of bigger than a kalasham, he goes, puts it into a well. Then it becomes bigger than that. Then he goes to vapi. Vapi means like a tank, like what is there in a temple tank, which is bigger than a well. And then it becomes bigger than that. And then he goes, puts it into a saraha. He goes, puts it into a lake. Right now, of course, if you ask how is he moving it, how is it talking, in the next stanza they tell all of this is happening by your command, and because of his yogic powers he is able to move it. Now, so we have to realize that sometimes the fish may not be technically a fish, because later on the fish is not going in the water, the fish goes out of the water as well, right? But so it's a symbolic representation. Fish means something that can move up in, you can assume, but it's been defined as fish everywhere, right, in all the places. So anyway, the fish is growing in size, so he's then having to move, the king Satyavrata is having to move the fish through the various things. Kshiptam jale tvam chakitam bilokya, comma, ninyembhu patrena munihi. So put a is there, munis swageham. Swalpair ahobi. Swalpair ahobihi is there. Again put a ih to join. Swalpair ahobih kalashim cha koopam, comma, vapim sarashchanashishe. So that's one word. Sarascha anashishe. So you say it together. Sarashchanashishe bibho tvam. Kshiptam jale tvam chakitam vilokyam निह्येम्बुपात्रेण मुनिस्वगेहं स्वल्पैरहोभिः कलशीं च कूपं वापीं सरश्चानशिषे विभो त्वम्.
क्षिप्तं जले त्वां चकितं विलोक्य निन्येम्बुपात्रेण मुनिस्वहेहं स्वल्पैरहोभिः कलशीं च कूपं वापीं सरश्चानशिषे विभो त्वम्. क्षिप्तं जले त्वां सकितं विलोक्य निन्येम्बुपात्रेण मुनिस्वहेहं स्वल्पैरहोभिः कलशीं सकूपं वापीं सरश्चानशिषे विभो त्वम्.
And the swageham, and the word somehow you were saying something different.
Swageham.
Yeah, swageham.
I'm following this
Prapati,
numbered one.
Yeah, okay, very good. Okay, so now it will take some time to get used to that, what each number means, but that's the right one.
Yeah.
क्षिप्तं जले त्वां चकितं विलोक्य निन्येम्बुपात्रेण मुनिस्वगेहं स्वल्पैरहोभिः कलशीं च कूपं वापीं शरश्चानशिषे विभो त्वं क्षिप्तं जले त्वां चकितं विलोक्य निन्येम्बुपात्रेण मुनिस्वगेहं स्वल्पैरहोभिः कलशीं च कूपं वापीं शरश्चानशिषे विभो त्वं.
Stanza 4. Yoga prabhavat bhavadagnyahaiv neetastatatsvam munina payodhim prishto muna kalpa didrukshumenham saptahamasveti vadannayasihi. So eventually when it starts becoming big and big, right, then at your command, bhavad agnya, because of from your command, you then tell Satyavrata to move the fish to a ocean, right? So then because of his yoga prabhava, because of the yogic powers and because of your blessings, O Lord, he is able to then move the fish over into the ocean. And once he goes there, then he of course, Satyavrata has realized that this is not some ordinary fish or something. So he then asks, why are you here? So then the Lord explains the purpose, saying that the pralayam is going to come. So 7 days from now, this is going to happen. And then he says, you are going to be the next Manu. So it says, Saptaham Asveti. After 7 days, everything is going to get destroyed right now. And so I want you to come to this place along with the Sapta Rishis. Later on, they will come as well. So along with them, I want you to come to this place. Yoga Prabhavad Bhavadagnyayaiva, comma, Neetas Tatas Tvam Munina Payodhim Prishtomuna Kalpa Didrukshu Menam Saptaham Asveti Vadannayasihi. Yoga prabhavad bhavadagnyahaiva neetastatastvam munina payodhim prishto muna kalpa didrukshumenam saptahamasveti vadannayasihi.
Yoga prabhavat bhavadagnyayaiva neetastatastvam munina payodhim brishtamuna kalpadidrukshamenam saptahamasveti vadannayasihi. Yoga prabhavat.
Third line, Prishto Muna.
Prishto Muna. Yoga prabhavat bhavadagnyayaiva neetastatastvam munina payodhim brishtamuna kalpadidruksamenam.
Prishto Muna
kalpadidruksamenam saptahamasveti vadannayasihi.
Yoga prabhavat bhavadagnyayaiva neetastatastvam munina payodhim prishto muna kalpadidrukshumenam saptahamasveti vadannayasihi. Yoga prabhavat bhavadagnyayaiva neetastatastvam munina payodhim prishto muna kalpadidrukshumenam saptahamasveti vadannayasihi.
I somehow want to squeeze in 2 more today if possible. So we are aligned with the other class. So stanza 5. Prapte twadukte hani varidhara pariplute bhumitale munindraha saptarshibes sardhamaparavarhini udgurnamana sharanam nyayotvam. So the day that was said, which was 7 days from the time this happened, at that time there was Bharidhara, there was incessant rain, heavy rain that was beginning to happen, and Pariplute Bhumitale, the entire world was completely filled with water. So at that time, but because Satyavrata knew this was what was to be expected, but still he was, he was very concerned and he was very worried. However, he was then joined by the Saptarshibi, the 7 rishis. He was joined by the 7th rishi, and all of them, they were kind of like, wandering around in the deluge, right? So they were like kind of completely directionless because everything was filled with water. So they were just wandering around and they didn't know what to do. So Sharanam Yayothvam. So they completely sought refuge in you, saying, not knowing what to do here. So Prapte Twadukte Hani, short ni, Twadukte Hani, comma, Vari Dhara Pariplute Bhumitale Munindraha. Saptarshibihi is there. So put a is. Saptarshibis Sardham Apara Varini. So that Varin you, you'll be having in and you. Remove that first. Make it Varini. Sardham Apara Varini, comma. Next word starts with the U. Udghurna Manaha is there. So put a ish to join. Manash Sharanam Yayotvam. Prapte Twadukte Hani Varidhara Pariplute Bhumitale Munindraha Saptarshibis Sardhamapara Varini Udgurnamana Sharanam Yayotvam.
Prapte Twadukdehe Nivaridara Pariplute Bhumitale Munindraha Saptashibis Sarta Aparavarin Utkunamanas Charanam Yavautham Tvam Prapte Twadukte.
Wait a second. And the Twadukte Hani kapram comma irukku. Okay. Twadukte Hani,
Honey, oh,
comma, and then last line remember Sardama Paravarini. And the nya வந்து we are breaking it. So Varini, then Udgurnamana.
okay. Prapte Twaduktehe Varidara Pariplute Bhumitale Munindraha Saptashibis Sarta Aparavarini Utkunamanas Charanam Yayauthvam. Charanama.
Sharanam.
Utkunamanas Sharanam Yayauthvam.
And the joining ish. Udgurnamanash. Ish.
Utkunamanas Sharanam Yayauthvam.
Correct.
Prapte Twadukte Hani Varidara Pariplute Bhumitale Munindraha Saptarshibis Sardhamapara Varini Udgurnamana Sharanam Yayautvam. Prapte Twadukte Hani Varidara Pariplute Bhumitale Munindra Saptarshibi Sardhamapara Udgurnamana Sharanam Yayautvam.
The second line, Swami, Munindraha. Okay.
Munindraha.
Okay, we'll just do one more and we'll stop. Dharam Twadadesha Karim Havaptam Naurupini Maruruhustadhate Tatkampakam Preshu Chatheshu Bhuyah Twamam Bhudera Virabhur Mahiyan. So then they then see a boat which comes similar to like Noah's Ark. The boat is coming and they all get on the boat because of your command. You then instruct them to do that. When they get, and then because of the flood being so rough, right? So they all get really scared. So then Tat Kampa Kampreshu, they're all trembling because of what is happening. So at that time, you come again, right? Avira Bhur Mahiyan in the form of a really big fish. So previously the fish was big that they had to drop it in the ocean. Now it has become even bigger. And the next stanza, they'll describe how big it is. So anyway, you come in the form of a big fish to again rescue them out as the Sapta Rishis and Satyavrata are in the boat. Dharam Twadadesha Karim. So Twad Adesha Karim. but say that together. Twadha desha karim avaptam, comma, now rupinim aruruhus tadate. Now rupinim aruruhus tadate. Tat kampa kampreshu cha teshu bhuyaha. So remove that is and put a visarga and a comma, bhuyaha. Twamam bhuder avirabhur mahiyan. So you can break it and say Twamam bhuder avirabhur, or say the whole thing, Twamam bhuder avirabhur mahiyan. Dharam twadadesha karimavaptam naurupini maruruhustadhate tatkampakam preshu chateshu bhuyah tomham bhudera virabhur mahiyan.
Taram tvadate shakarimavaptam naurupini marurukasta tade
Aruruhustadate hustadate
marurukastadade tatkambakam preshu sadeshu bhuyah tvamam budera virapur mahiyan. Taram tvadake deshakarima naurupini marurukastadade
hasla hustadate aruruhus
naurupini maruruhustadade tatkampakam preshu sadeshu bhuyah tvamam budera virapur mahiyan.
Daram tvada deshakarim avaptam naurupinim aruruhu tadate tatkampakam preshu deshu bhuyah tvamam buder avirabhur mahiyan. Avirabhur mahiyan. Dharam tvada deshakarim avaptam naurupinim aruruhus dadate tatkampakam preshu chateshu bhuyah tvamam buder avirabhur mahiyan.
We'll end the class here. Om Sandhanandavabodhatmakamanupamitam kaladeshavadebhyam nirmuktam nityamuktam nigamashatasahasrena nirbhasyamaham aspashtam drishtamatre punarurupurushartatmakam brahmatattvam tattavat bhadi sakshat guru pavanapure hanta bhagyam janaham काहेन वाचा मनसेन्द्रियैर्वा बुद्ध्यात्मना वा प्रकृते स्वभावात् करोमि यत् सकलं परस्मै नारायणायेति समर्पयामि.